Hello, this is Maralyn Burstein. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will be discussing inceptions. Inception is a fancy astrological word for timing charts of when you begin a matter. Now, if we go back to days of yore, when astrologers were hired by royal courts, this was the main function of the court astrologer, was to pick the exact time to launch whatever matter the king, queen, or court deemed important. So, for example, when at times of war, the charts of the general would be looked at to see if that person had the potential to carry out a big battle. But primarily, the astrologers spent their time picking the exact time for that general to begin the war. And this was considered their main function. And if the general lost the war, that astrologer was probably not going to live too long after they made the mistake. So, inception charts were very, very important. And you would also assume that these astrologers had the skill to be really excellent at timing charts, or they wouldn't have had such a long, storied history of being able to work for royal courts over and over and over again. So for example, when Queen Elizabeth I, who she had a lot of enemies, she was in a lot of danger. When she found her astrologer to pick the time the crown was placed on her head, when she was crowned, she had John Dee, her astrologer, do the exact chart of when that would be. And we have a copy of that chart, and it was masterful. And the reason she did that is she was afraid she was going to be murdered by her enemies, of which she had many. So when the crown was placed on her head and she was crowned, that exact second was chosen by her astrologer. And this shows you how important previous generations found timing charts to be. So many people in industry, corporations, financial people, they had their astrologers pick launch times for their charts, for their corporations, for their charts, or when they were offering a stock, or when they were picking the CEO of a corporation, and that person had timings that maybe didn't go with their company. They needed to be told about it. But at any rate, if you have any important matter that you want to succeed, you need somebody like me to pick the exact time you do it. Because if you decide to launch a matter on a bad chart, it's essentially a kiss of death. So, for example, many of you know when you have surgery on a full moon, you will find that you have very high risk of bleeding to death, or having fluid issues, or having anesthesia issues. That is because that chart is very, very bad for human life. So anyway, this is one of my most important functions for the client, is helping them, if they have a series of decisions and they have important matters ahead of them, is sitting down with me and let me give you timings for your matters so that you have a much higher chance of success. And parenthetically, if you want to know why some things didn't do well, if we go back in time and I look at the launch times of your matters, and I look at those charts and I see that they're ugly, then that will aid you in understanding what happened. And you don't just want timing charts for yourself. You want timing charts for those connected to whatever matter you're involved with. So timing charts for all the people, all the principles involved in your matter. These are very specific charts. They're not vague charts like something from a sun sign column. These are very specific charts set at the location of the matter you're launching. And that means that when you have to launch it on the time I give you, if it's going to be of any use to you. If you launch something on a bad start time, you're going to have hell to pay, usually. And that's why, if you go back in time and you look at the royal astrologers, there is a history of over and over and over again through millennia of astrologers picking launch times for anything that was important. So anyway, this is one of my most important functions if you're going to use me as your astrologer. I hope this has been useful. It's a succinct description of this matter. I could go on and on and on, but it is what it is. If you enjoyed this talk, I urge you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe and let me know how you feel about the matter. Did you find my information useful? Thank you very much.